has any technical difficulties. Usually alongside me is Sarah Whiting. She's the other facilitator for this mentoring and coaching course, but unfortunately she was unable to be here this afternoon. So Sarah and I work alongside each other, and we will be here supporting you in your mahi, and also in a mentoring capacity as you support one another and you work through the module courses that we are looking at in these next 20 weeks. Tessa, do you want to introduce a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. Kia ora tātou. Ko Tessa Gray tōku ingoa, ko Mawao te Munga, ko Kaituna te Awa. And I also work for Core Education alongside Amira, and at the moment I'm working in schools. So DTHM and any other schools that are looking for PLS or PLD around student agency, localised curriculum and all that sort of thing. And the other thing is that I really enjoy working online. So you might have seen I was in the VLN working for Enabling E-Learning. I'm still in there, but nobody's playing with me there. Just play there alone. Haere mai. And Core Education's got our own community of practice as well. And I also work for Point One for Ngā Kiriahi, which is the new free PLD program for teachers getting upskilled with digital technologies. So pretty cool stuff, really. Bit lucky, really. So kia ora tātou.
Kia ora, Tessa. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to ask Tessa just to take us through a little bit with Zoom. If you just wave at me if you've been in the Zoom on the Zoom platform before and you're familiar with it, you just wave to me so we get an idea if anyone's used it before. Fabulous, thanks, Joe. Awesome. I think I saw anyone else waving at me. No, okay, all right. So I'm just going to ask Tess just to take us through just the main functions, main buttons that you might find yourself using so that things work quite smoothly for you, because really that's the purpose of today, is making sure that everyone can get access and is feeling comfortable before we go on to some other bits and pieces that you can see on there. Kia ora, Tessa.
Kia ora. Hey, look, I just want to say first off, this is a really cool opportunity, because once you do start working together in a mentoring program, you're going to have common needs, interests, and obviously you're engaging with the content at the same time. So this is one best practice way to be able to connect with each other without having to drive over hills, pay petrol, park cars, and get to a face-to-face hui. So again, if you can't make it to one of these sessions, it will be looking just like this. It will have a layout where, in fact, you may have it looking differently on your screens, but more often than not, the videos of each other, of ourselves, comes up at the top. If you're finding that this is actually filling your whole screen at the moment, this whole Zoom screen, it might be that you could actually press escape on your keyboard, and that actually minimizes your screen, so that if Amira or Sarah take you other places on the internet to different browser windows, you can move in between this window as well as the internet. And if you do minimize that, you should also be able to see two little arrows on an angle. And when you click on a corner, you can drag it smaller or drag it bigger. So that's the first thing, is just sort of minimizing that screen so it's not taking over your whole world at the moment. The other ones that you've already explored is turning on your video and unmuting yourselves and muting yourselves. So that's at the toolbar at the bottom of the screen. And there is also, what you're seeing is Amira's screen here, and she's doing a screen share. So it may well be, when it comes to sharing your mahi or your projects and stuff, there might be an opportunity to share your work, and there'll be a screen share option at the bottom for you to be able to do that and then talk to your slides. So the whole interface is about video, sound, and the slides that you're seeing. And the last really important one, and it may well be that your tools are at the bottom, but what I'm seeing next to the screen share is a little chat box. So when you click on that little wee icon that looks like you're having a chat or a talk, that means that you can all type in there, and if people are talking and it's not an opportunity to interject or to put your hand up or use the microphone, then you can also just type your ideas in here. And often I imagine, Amira, you'll be in partnership with Sarah, so one or other facilitator will keep an eye on that chat box and see what's coming in, so you can have a rich conversation there, or say kia ora, or have a laugh, or get to know each other. So ideally, those are sort of the main tools there. Up at the top, you should be able to see you are viewing Amira Aman's screen. And next to that is also a drop-down menu box. It says View Options. So you might be able to request other items in there about getting an original size or requesting to take over from Amira's screen sharing. But that's pretty much it, really. It's for us to get to know each other, to not date virtually, but to learn together virtually, to get to know each other, and of course the content that Amira is going to be sharing. So if you've got any questions, please ask or use the chat box, and feel free to comment when asked for input. Kia ora. Any questions?
Kia ora, Tessa. Thank you very much. I will just pause for a minute in case anyone has any questions that you want to ask or drop into the chat. Good to see you. Got in there, Mika. Awesome. Okay, there'll be another chance to ask some questions soon as well if you think of something, but otherwise please do drop it into the chat. Thanks so much, Tessa. So yeah, so that was a bit of a background into getting familiar with Zoom, but we are going to take a moment to introduce ourselves, and I'll guide you through that in just a moment. And then talking a little bit about the course, how to engage with that, and then talking about our peer mentoring situation, because it's a really good idea that we are supporting each other with our mahi, as well as benefiting from the Moodle content, and as I say, some further opportunity to ask some questions. So we're going to take a moment. Don't feel as if you need to answer all of these questions, but just a little bit of a guide here for you to introduce yourselves. So perhaps your name, if it's relevant, your school and the level, or the year level that you're teaching, or the position that you hold. Anything perhaps that maybe that you're expecting to learn, or the reason why you're here. If you already know, and certainly no pressure that you've already made this decision, but one of the things that is really important is that we're not learning about mentoring and coaching in theory. We're going to put this into practice. So we do ask, at least partway through the course, that you do have someone that you might like to mentor and to support. So if you know whom that might be, there might be a beginning teacher, it might be, if you're in senior leadership and APDP, whom you're going to mentor in a leadership capacity, a colleague that you're going to do it in a reciprocal way, whoever it might be, or you might not have any idea yet whom you might mentor, and that's completely fine as well. But if you do, let us know. So this is where I'm going to be quiet and stop talking because this first session I've talked far too much. I'm going to mute myself, and I'll leave it over to you to unmute yourselves and to take the reins, introduce yourself in a way that you feel comfortable doing.
Kia ora tātou. My name is Amy Stewart, and I've just taken up a new role at Te Kura, the correspondence school. I'm in a team leader position, so not a teaching position, but I come from a primary, secondary, middle school leadership, kahui ako leadership background. So that's where I'm coming from, and I'm hoping to either do a reciprocal coaching situation with one of my colleagues, or coach somebody in my team. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Amy.
Kia ora tātou, ko Glenys Taku Ingoa, ko Addington Te Kura. Aho. I have the role of Associate Principal, and with main kind of Senko and pastoral care role, and we're also a PB for our school. I'm hoping to put more theory behind the coaching and mentoring I do, and I'm also looking at trying to make some things more sustainable, so coaching other teachers into leadership roles, kind of what my kind of bent is. Thank you.
Kia ora, Glenys.
Hi, Pam.
Kia ora tātou, ko Pam Toku Ingoa, ko Papatahora Te Kura. I did see you, Glenys, after a wee few looks there. I've just returned to teaching. I've had 8 years out. My previous role was assistant principal at Thorrington, and now I've come back in, starting off relieving, now back in full-time, and now as a team leader of year 5 and 6. So it's going to be really interesting for me to come back in and reflect on what I've done in the past and how I need to go forward. Hopefully doing some reciprocal, possibly with Mr. T next to me if he wants to, or whoever else in the school might want to join in. So yeah, I'm really excited to be back in education, and yeah, looking forward to this.
Kia ora, Pam.
Kia ora. I'm Aaron Taylor. I'm team leader of 7/8 and 3/4. I'm quite excited about this course because our DP was on the course last year, and I think she sort of failed a little bit in her organisation, so I want to go one step better. Pretty open to who I'm going to mentor, but obviously with Pam here as well, we could do something pretty special around our school.
Kia ora, Aaron. That's fantastic. I'll pass that on to her, shall I?
Yeah,
I thought Glenys might first.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. Actually, we do have a lot of people that have had other staff on the mentoring and coaching course, and it's great to see that other people are coming on board from the same schools to grow it and to support each other. So yeah, welcome. Kia ora.
I'm at Ilam School and the Deputy Principal at Ilam, and I'm just hoping to improve on leadership skills and some of the mentoring skills. I haven't actually chosen a mentor yet, but I've got a few ideas of 1 or 2 people that I'd really like to work with as time goes by.
Kia ora, Jo. That's fantastic.
Kia ora koutou, he kaiko me te muaki kai awhina, ahau i te kura o Aorere, ko Mika ahau. I am working at Collingwood Area School, which is at the top of the South Island in Mohua, that's Golden Bay. We've got 150 students. I teach year 8 and year 9 maths. Year 8 I teach 3 subjects. I'm also the assistant principal, and I'm really excited to be here.
Kia ora, Mika. Welcome. Fantastic. That's a number of hats that you're wearing.
Thank you.
Now, I'm hoping that's everyone. Have I missed anyone? Fabulous. Excellent. Thank you very much. That's wonderful to hear. Who you are and where you're from. And that's a part of working online that I absolutely love, that we usually get people from all over the country and often people from Rarotonga as well. So it's a wonderful way for us to connect where we might not be able to if we all needed to meet face to face. So I'm going to just go through with you just a couple of reminders, keeping very close eye on the time, that will be useful for you, because I can see from Moodle that some of you have already been into the course and had a look around at some of the content, and some of you haven't been in there yet, and both are perfectly fine. But just to help you orientate yourself and feel comfortable about what it is that's coming up, I thought I would just share a couple of things with you. So the first one is we like to get organised early, and that's about the peer mentoring. So if you can imagine in your mind that you will be working with someone, and I probably recommend it's not someone who's on this course with you in this cohort. And the reason for that is that you'll want to talk about how your mentoring practice is going. And so for that, you want to have a peer mentor. So a peer mentor could be someone who's on this course with you from your kura, but the person that you're going to be mentoring, it would be easier for you, you'll find, if they're not the same person, if that makes sense. So what we're wanting is for you to indicate who you'd like to have as your peer mentor. So that's the person that you're going to, or group that you're going to connect with, to talk about how your mentoring practice is going. So where you'll do this is on Moodle. So hopefully you've got access into Moodle, and that's working in a straightforward way for you. When you go in there, you'll see that there's a welcome tab. And underneath that welcome tab, there is a lovely video from Sarah and I, which you're welcome to watch. And just underneath that, it says peer mentor selection tool. And so it invites you to let us know if there's someone in particular that you might like to work with, because sometimes people really want to work alongside someone in their own context. But a lot of the time, people want to work outside of their context, and they would like us to pair them up for them or put them into a group. So there's lots of options there, and if you can just indicate which of those you'd like, and if you could do that by Friday, that would be ideal. So if you think about that for a few days, and think about where would I get the greatest benefit. This is the person or people that I'm going to be talking about, the gnarly stuff of mentoring, that I've tried these things with my mentee and it's worked or it hasn't worked. I ask these questions and they seem to elicit good responses that were deep and reflective. However, this is not something that was going so well. So where would it be of benefit for you to have that support within your school or outside of your school? But it will be people within this course. So there are 14 of us, and we try and match you as best as possible. It may be that you want a peer relationship, as in PAIR, so just the two of you, or it may be that you prefer a group situation. So you just indicate on that tool for us, and we will do the matching, and we will email you, and we will make sure that you have each other's email contact so that you can get in touch. And so the idea is that for some of you that might be a face-to-face session, for some of you that might be a Skype call or something like that that's more virtual. Some of you have already indicated that whom it is that you might mentor, and I'm really encouraging you to choose someone who's not on this current course with you. But if you really want to do that, we can talk about that. So spending some time thinking about that, but that decision doesn't need to be made yet. You won't necessarily be meeting with that person during Module 1. You might choose to, but you might not either. So you're welcome to jump into Module 1, so to go into Moodle and have a look around the first module. Some of the feedback that we got from participants of the other cohorts was that they didn't want to spend all of the virtual Hui time talking through the content of the module. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to create summary videos of each of the modules, and I'll send you a link to those. So if you want to, if you have a summary, you can watch that video. That will just give you an overview of what's coming in each module. But if you're perfectly happy just looking through the module yourself at your own pace, that's absolutely fine as well. So you'll get Module 1's summary video this week. But feel free to jump in before then if you'd like to. So our next virtual Hui is on Monday, the 11th of March. So all our virtual Hui will be on a Monday, and that will be for an hour from 3:30 to 4:30. And this will give you some time. We're going to go into breakout rooms, for those of you who know what that means, which just means we split this virtual Hui. So some of you will be looked after by myself, and some of you will be looked after by Sarah. And it will just give you opportunities to ask questions about any of the Module 1 material, about how to navigate through Moodle, anything like that that is useful for you. So it'll be, or maybe it's about choosing your mentee, or any other questions that you may have. So that will be happening on Monday, the 11th of March. So it's probably a good idea if you've at least had a wee look through Moodle by then, Module 1, or had a look, listen to the video that I'll send out to you. The last thing that I think is worth mentioning is that with each of the modules, and there are 4 modules for this mentoring and coaching course, there's a challenge, or some people probably call it an assignment. It's not meant to be an odorous assessment, but it's an opportunity for you to really reflect on the things that you are learning and experiencing. And you'll see that for Module 1, it asks you to set up your reflective journal and to complete an Opportunities and Strengths the New Mentors self-assessment tool. You can see that the due date for that is a long way off on the 18th of March, but I'll just give you a bit of an idea where to find that. So if you go to the mentoring coaching course, I think it's the third icon down is the content for module 1, and it's called Building Foundations. So it looks like that, and there's a welcome video from Sarah and I, much to our delight. And if you scroll a little bit further down, you'll see here an explanation of the challenge being the assignment. And hopefully you can see here in the blue where there's a link to the reflective journal and strengths and opportunities self-assessment. So if you click on that, you'll go to a Google Doc, and we ask you to make a copy of that. And so that's going to be the place where you write some reflections and also have a little bit of a self-review at the beginning of this course, even if mentoring is not something that's new for you, and I can hear from you that for many of you it's not. Please don't freak out by that self-assessment tool. A lot of people spend hours in that space, and that's not what it's designed for. Really, it's a baseline or a health check of where you're at, just jotting in the key things that are relevant for you is all, and it just gives us a bit more background information, and it leads into what your goals are going to be for this mentoring and coaching course. I can hear from some of you that it's going to be around questioning if you're working with leaders. For some of you it might be more around some listening skills or something like that. So it'll just help guide you into creating your own goals. Any questions about any of that? Because that was a lot of talking. Just unmute yourself and ask away if you've got any, or into the chat. Okay, no, I am keeping an eye on time. I think we've got about 2 minutes. So if you get off from this virtual who and you have any questions, please do email me. You should all have my email address because you got the instructions from my email address about how to get into this Hui and Moodle. Please don't hesitate to ask. We know that you feeling confident in using Zoom and Moodle is paramount in your success with this course, so we will bend over backwards to ensure that things work smoothly for you. If that means for Sarah or I to give you a call, we're happy to do that as well, or email, whatever works for you. So the intent really for this very introductory webinar was to get you into Zoom successfully, to give you a bit of an overview of how things work and set you up for what's coming. And then there's a bit of space for you to navigate yourself around Moodle before we meet again on the 11th of March. And I will pause. Any questions or comments before we close? You're all very quiet. It's not going to be like this every session, I promise you. We're going to talk far less and you're going to talk a lot more. So I'm going to move to our karakia then, and feel free to join me if you'd like to. Inahia te pō whiri marama, te maki te ao whatatangata, tai te karanga, tai te kararo, tai te aharo, humie, huie, takie. And I hope that's true, that we've moved a little bit along the continuum of perhaps some confusion to some understanding, and certainly is lovely to hear you all introduce yourselves and to start to get to know each other a little bit better. Well, go out and enjoy the sunshine if you're in Christchurch that we've finally got. I'm sure you always have sunshine, Mika, and that this is a bizarre conversation to talk about rain and 15 degrees. I wish you all the well and navigating through Moodle. Please be in contact if I can help. Otherwise, I'll see you all again on the 11th of March. Ka kite anō.